Hello and welcome to week 9 in Technology and Society, and I'm introducing you to this chapter, Health and Medicine. Certainly careers that have a very stable trajectory into the future, so a very big part of KVCC's DNA, preparing people for the healthcare fields. And so here we go. So in health and medicine, I introduce you at first to a historical perspective. I've been doing that for a lot of the technologies, so we kind of have a written, but also I put in a video, a very interesting video about medicine in the ancient world. And the discussion is to discuss interesting things that you found in that ancient medicine. Now, I think what you're going to see is even though there was a strongly spiritual, supernatural aspect to early medicine, it is the roots of modern Western medicine. And that will be an interesting journey through that. So enjoy the video as an entertainment. It's a very, very cool video, and an understanding changes that have happened throughout the ancient world. I then go into expected changes in the medical world, things that we're anticipating going to be changes that coming up. And then at the end, I introduced what is then the material for the quiz, and that is the technology acceptance model. Now, I'm familiar with this model because it was part of my research that I did for my doctoral dissertation. I looked at technology acceptance as one of the factors involved in successfully completing online coursework. And the technology that I was focusing on was the learning management system. In that case, it was Blackboard. Now we're using Brightspace. So to what degree do people acclimate and accept the technology of Brightspace in order to be successful in an online class? I introduce you to that complete model that measures an individual's sense of ease of use. Is the technology easy to use? Is it useful? And how those factors predict whether I'm going to use it or not, and my attitudes about using it, ultimately, which all predict actually using it successfully. And so that you could probably look at, I could have taken that model at any time, and I could have looked at any throughout this course. You could take that model and sort of like, how did I individually make my way through accepting changes in technology? In the modern day, we have to do this more and more in an individual lifespan. When we looked at the technology adoption curves that we were looking at earlier in this class, part of that slacking in adoption is related to a person's attitudes about technology, whether they think it's useful or not, those kinds of things. Whether someone's taking on, learning about artificial intelligence, for most people, not useful. I don't see why I would use that. I don't see any way that I would use that. 3D printing. I work very closely with Stephen LaRochelle at KVCC, who's very into 3D printing. I like 3D printing. I still have not found a really successful way to incorporate that into my psychology program. I just don't see where it's useful yet. I'm open to the idea, but I've been very square with him, saying I don't see it. Whereas in the teachers of anatomy and physiology have gone full in with 3D printing as part of their program, and he's working with all the face-to-face classes in anatomy and physiology to do part of their work in 3D printing. Again, you see that usefulness and ease of use combined for the technology to take on. Now, you, as a consumer of technology, you can make this wide, but I'm kind of focusing on health technology. And having an example of health technology probably best for this assignment, although I'm open to other technologies. What I'm asking you to do in the 2 questions in this quiz is to, using the technology acceptance model, describe your personal experience with a piece of technology that you've accepted, and then do the same describing a piece of technology that you have not accepted. I have an Apple Watch. Now, when I first got one, it was under a grant. So I got it, put it on. I, for most of my life, have not worn a watch. Put it on, and I had no idea what I was going to, it was easy to use, but I didn't see utility for it other than telling the time, and there was clocks around me most of the time, never really used a watch. It took a while for me to see the usefulness of it, and now I use it as a health tracker. It tracks my exercise, it gives me those numbers. I have, just the fact that it's tracking. Wearable technology that's counting my steps, that's counting what I can set. When I'm going for, when I'm lifting weights or something, I can go into the exercise thing and have it record that I'm lifting weights or swimming or whatever. And so it started to have some utility for me. And that wearable technology, smart exercise equipment, those mirrors that they put on the wall, or the Peloton bikes that use AI to get to know you and reflect back to you the feedback that you need, that some people need, and some people gain from this feedback in order to motivate them to continue being in shape. These technologies, are complex, sometimes not easy to use at first, and then are they useful? Now, those components, I want you to look at something in your own world, a piece of technology that is one that you've encountered that technology, and yep, I could tell you the whole technology acceptance model that I went through about the Apple Watch. Technology that I haven't done, I'd probably say I had for my bike, I had a thing that attached to the back wheel that I could ride my bike in the winter. Now, the problem with that, it's gone now. Well, I still have it, but I don't have it on my bike anymore, and I don't use it. And the problem for me with that particular technology is, first, I had to change my tire to put a special tire on it, on my bike, which was a pain. And then, once it was going, because it didn't connect directly electronically to my phone to track that. I was looking for a way to track mileage and stuff like that. It would sometimes take a while to get that Wi-Fi thing to work, and oftentimes it didn't, or the app would crash, and just the ease of use factor drove it down, and I stopped using it. So that was that. And so now I've just got a stationary bike, and low tech, very low tech, no electronics at all on it. I got it from the Somerset Fitness that was selling all of its spin bikes for really cheap because they just bought a slew of new ones, all connected and all that. So I ended up getting one of their premium stationary spin bikes for not a lot of money. It's old, but it works beautifully. It has no electronics at all on it. I play music, and I use my watch. Again, when I'm going for an indoor bike ride, I let it track whatever it's going to track, but I never know how many miles I've gone or anything because that's easier to use. So I would use that first effort on the electronic connected trainer for my bike as the one I didn't accept. It just wasn't easy to use, and so it was actually pretty painful to use. Even setting up the bike, and I had to get another axle to, forget it. I just let that one go, and that technology was not for me. And I didn't get a smart bike because they were too expensive. And so, so that little example of how I would approach that particular question, my first answer would be on technology I accepted, my Apple Watch. My second question would be on technology that I didn't accept, and that was that trainer device that I had bought for the back of my bike. So do as I just did, except go into the actual theory where you're talking about both ease of use and usefulness, attitudes, intent, and then actual using. You're looking at that whole model. There's a graphic in the course book about that model and applying it to a piece of technology that you have. Now, I'm going to open this door a little bit. I want you to think about health devices primarily, but if that's not, if you're looking around like you have nothing in the health world, kind of including, think about, I'm sure your healthcare provider is giving you access to online medical records. Are you using it? I'm not. I don't have the link. I don't find it useful. I find it a little clunky, not easy to use. It doesn't have everything, sort of things. You can talk about those things too. But, in your search for one thing you've accepted and one thing you haven't accepted, you may consider looking at non-health related stuff. Think health related first, but if I didn't have the examples that I have for my answers, I might talk about, let's say, paper planners. I have tried every single paper planner on this planet. I love them. I like this idea of having this sort of written, organized thing. I have never been successful at using them, ever. I have tons of planners that have the first couple days, I'm really vigilant about, writing things in and to-do list transferring and really trying to manage my time. No, it's just not easy to use. And just too much writing, too much time sitting in there. I use a digital to-do list. And that's how I track my time. And that works. That works better than anything else I've had. So I have no planner per se. I have a digital calendar on my computer. And I have a to-do list app that I use. And I just manage my time that way. So I could actually do both of those. How paper planners did not work and how digital to-do list did work. Okay, so that's it for this week. So you have the discussion on ancient medicine, and then hopefully I'm looking for quiz answers on technology acceptance of these wearables and the medical information and those kinds of technologies that you have come to like or not like, or you're using them or not using them, having a discussion about those. So that's what we have for this week. So be well, take care, have a great week, and I'll see you online.